Welcome to Return on Insights, the show where candid conversations with bold founders and leaders spark actionable insights for your business. I'm David Lindover.
And I'm Erin Abatangelo. Each week, we pull back the curtain with leaders who are scaling teams and shaping the future, sharing the insights that create impact far beyond the bottom line.
Discover how high-performing companies build enduring cultures, inspire teams to think bigger, and turn vision into action. If you see storytelling as your strategic advantage, you're in the right place. Welcome to Return on Insights podcast. My name is David Lindover. I'll be your host for today's episode. And today we're featuring Anu Shukla, co-founder and executive director of Botco.ai, a leading conversational AI platform that transforms healthcare and senior living through HIPAA-compliant generative AI chatbots. Anu is a seasoned serial entrepreneur with over 25 years in tech. She's known for pioneering marketing automation and applying AI to real-world challenges with privacy and security at the forefront. On today's episode, she's going to share how Botco's AI fine-tuned models improve patient engagement while safeguarding sensitive data, the challenges of AI adoption in regulated industries, and what the future holds for AI-driven healthcare experiences. Welcome, Anu. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, David. Nice to be here.
So my first question is, can you talk about your journey as a serial entrepreneur? You know, I know from our previous discussion that you've led 5 companies, you've exited 5 companies, you've clearly got a successful formula. So I'd love it if you could share your journey and what led you to co-found Botco.ai.
Sure thing. Yes, I am a serial entrepreneur, which is a popular term in the Valley. And I worked for startups before I started my own. And I was fortunate enough to work with some great teams so that we all got acquired or mostly went public at that time. And then eventually I got to the point where I said, I have this idea that I want to pursue and I want to start my own company. And that idea was a company called Rubrik. Rubrik was a pioneer in marketing automation, one of the first companies that tried to automate B2B marketing. And at that time, a lot of venture capitalists were skeptical about it. They said, is this, an oxymoron? Because isn't marketing an art, not a science? And so, we had to fight through that. But we did raise about $13.5 million. Our first 3 customers were Cisco, General Motors, and I think a company called HP. Sorry, HP was one of the first customers. And within 18 months, the company got acquired for about $400 million. So it was a very good experience. 18 months, good payout for everyone. And we really started something because marketing automation is no longer considered just an art, but really a necessity. And a host of companies sprung up after that, all of them carrying a few features that we had in the original Rubrik. So that's how I got into the entrepreneurship game, and I really liked it. I was hooked. So I went on to start multiple other companies. There was a company called Tapjoy. I basically started as my offer pal, which was to monetize through advertising offers, for virtual currency on Facebook. And as Facebook grew, so did we. And then when Facebook became more of a closed garden, we moved on to a mobile platform. So Apple and Google, mobile devices, and the company, did very well. One of the first companies that I saw go to 100 million within 14 months.
Wow.
And nicely profitable too, 30% margins in the beginning. And then I was sort of, doing a payments company. I was sort of more independent. Tapjoy got sold about 3 years ago for about 400 million cash to Unity, Iron Mountain, then Unity. And, I started to dabble in, stepped up my investment activities, etc. But I actually, was talking to my co-founder at Rubrik, Dr. Chris Maida from MIT and Carnegie Mellon, and he was mentioning that he was traveling to Asia and people were, basically using their mobile devices and applications like WeChat, and he goes, "We don't have an equivalent here, and how would businesses use chat?" And how would enterprises use chat? Do we have an application like a WeChat here that can be so popular? And you know, yes, consumers are going to use it. Everybody uses texting, so we decided this was enough of a platform shift. And remember, we started Rubric together when the platform shift was the internet. The internet was coming in, so this was done for mobile. And along with our third co-founder Rebecca, who was in this area, working in, with large enterprises, we said, let's go do some projects, bringing chat, interactive chat, and enterprises are not going to, just trust. They're not going to have live chat all the time, so 24 hours. So we have to use some measure of AI. And this was before ChatGPT came out. And so that's how we arrived at Botco, to enable and harness the power of mobile and chat for enterprises in a way that they could use it using whatever AI we could find to enable a two-way conversation, automated and through AI, and not require live chat. And thus Botco was born. When we did a couple of projects, they turned out very well. People were seeing nice engagement levels, nice lead conversion on their websites. And so we decided to raise some money. We raised about $5.5 million. And then a few years later, ChatGPT came along. So we were able to leverage that and further refine our vertical markets, our platform features, and so on and so forth. And here we are.
What a great story. So what makes Botco AI unique in the chatbot space, specifically within healthcare sectors like behavioral health and senior living?
Well, remember, this is a company that was born during COVID. And so, the one of the most inbound calls we got during COVID was from healthcare companies that were not able to see their patients on a regular basis, and people were scared to come in for regular checkups. And so they needed the plans for their digital front door was by necessity accelerated. And one of our customers, for example, had a bunch of you know wellness centers, massages, etc., nationwide, and they were seeing a lot of cancellations. And so one of the first things we did was to put a chatbot on the cancellation page, telling people instead of canceling, they could actually suspend their membership and not get charged for until the pandemic was over. And that saved them a lot of money. Secondly, by enabling chat, interactive automated chat on their website, and to all the franchise locations, we had more people show up for appointments through wayfinding and appointment rescheduling. And also they found a lot of questions about whether, the massage or the products would aggravate acne. And they never thought about that. And so they came up with a line of acne products, huge revenue booster for them as well. And so, those are the things that really crystallized um, our uniqueness in that marketplace. So what we did was, the low hanging fruit for chat is customer support. And yes, we have many support applications where people deflect calls onto us, right? But
Right.
what makes us unique and why I told that whole story is our focus was very much on insights. You will understand that, right, David? Insights
Absolutely.
and driving marketing through insights. So that's what I told you, that massage story, because that's what the insights led them to do. And so as a chat bot and now an interactive agent, AI agent company, our focus has always been on insight driven marketing versus only customer support. Okay. So that's the
Yep.
one. So we had to put all kinds of features into our platform to capture signals, to analyze them, to give a dashboard that made sense out of all this data, filter through thousands of conversations and said, these are sentiment is bad, sentiment is good, people are neutral, and things like that. And then ROI is, how many leads did you get? How many leads did you convert? What was your revenue impact? And all that closed loop tracking is within the platform. So I believe that is unique in what we do. And then next was our focus on healthcare and enterprise readiness. So we deal with medium to large enterprises, and they are very much focused on, not having hallucinations on their website or through their SMS interactions with their customers. And so how do we fine tune our models? How do we train our models on data? And how do we prevent hallucinations is something that we're uniquely qualified to do and have a lot of experience in. And then in the segments that we cater to, behavioral health, we have all of the workflows and optimal conversions that are captured within that platform. And add to that a layer of, HIPAA compliance, that too verified by an auditor, not self-attested. SOC 2, again, audited, and a whole bunch of privacy features that are built in that support GDPR and CCPA, etc. So that, pharma enterprises, healthcare enterprises, behavioral health, they can feel confident that they are not violating any, in this regulated industry, that they have all of the, the tracking and the transparency that is required in the documentation that is required to have a very secure, uh, data, data secure environment.
Thank you so much for sharing those insights. So that was a really great answer. So, moving on to my next question: balancing rapid growth and profitability, especially in a regulated market. How are you doing that?
Well, we decided because I've personally raised 300-400 million dollars in venture capital over my 5-6 companies, and luckily a lot of them have worked out and some haven't. But I would say the ones that worked out, luckily for those investors, were very decent wins, and those that didn't were really small losses. And one of the things why that was because we have a focus on profitability. And at this time, as a partnership of people who had done this before, we decided that we really wanted to build this company our way, and we weren't going to take a whole bunch of venture money and just write the book on how to live well on venture money. But instead, we were going to balance our growth with the desire to not be too much in the red. Now, SaaS companies take forever to get profitable. I'll give you the example of Salesforce. They were losing money for 10 years, I believe, but then now they're making gobs of money. So we decided that that was a model before that was supported before, but in these times of AI and where massive sums of money are going into AI companies like ChatGPT, that we were better off taking some money, but also focused on growing our business in a lean manner and trying to get to that profitability, or I would say trying to get to a break even or low burn situation. So we've had a low burn for a long time. We balanced our growth with that, and we pick our customers carefully. We look at their, how much are we able to contribute to their, to make it sticky. And so we really spend the time on that, and that's worked out. We wanted to do this company that way, and so that's how we're doing it.
More good insights. Thank you. What are the biggest technical challenges you face with these chatbots, especially when you consider HIPAA and SOC 2 compliance?
Well, I think one of all of the chatbots have a training period. And so you have to really fine tune it and keep watching it because, as you know, in the chat and AI environment, there's an unlimited number of questions. There are only a limited set of answers. So how do you test it against an unlimited set of questions? Well, the thing is you have to iterate quite a bit. And so that's always a challenge. How fast can you get it to 98%? And, so we had to provide a very good training interface where you could see, where the answers were not up to par, could be made better, going through multiple LLMs in the back end, but also restricting the type of data that they could look at. A whole bunch of prompt engineering was, added to it. So things are moving fast in the market. Already our customers are demanding voice-based solutions. And so we just enabled, voice and are testing it, and we'll be announcing it soon. And then there'll be video. There's a lot of, people want video interfaces to this enterprise chat. And so what persona, taking out bias. So, and also security, upping the level of security all the time. So you have to constantly evolve and go in directions where the customers or the markets are going and where there's real value. And that keeps us pretty busy.
How do you see the AI chatbot industry evolving over the next, I'll say 3 to 5 years, but that's a pretty long time horizon.
I mean, I see,
Again, particularly in healthcare.
yes.
Sorry, go
I
ahead.
mean, I see a lot of, it's very early days. I mean, I took a look at the pharma market, and a lot of the chatbots that were visible there are very, um, they're very button script oriented. You can't even ask free form questions. And I think the reason that was done was because the pharma companies couldn't risk, some chatbot running off in its mouth and, giving wrong advice. Take a subject like vaccinations. We're working on that right now. There's a guideline from states, there's a guideline from CDC, there's a non-guideline, there's no guideline. People can get confused about this. And so how do you train a chatbot when the whole market is itself, basically confused? So that's kind of some things, that's been challenging, and we've had to really work on that as well.
Okay. Strategies you're exploring for funding and market focus to sustain your growth.
Well, basically right now we're pretty much funded through our customers buying from us and giving us long-term contracts, and that's keeping us going. We're basically almost break even. We have a very low negative, and we have enough cash from prior investments to keep that going. So, we are open to strategic partners and strategic investors that can add value, and we'll take some of their money, but we're not really out there fundraising.
Okay. Excuse me. How does the company stay adaptable amid this rapid changing AI market?
I mean, I think that unless you change, you're going to die. So I think it's imperative that we listen to our customers. We watch the market trends. We try to anticipate, going around corners, watch out for downturns, and position ourselves and add the types of features and things that are necessary. We don't operate under like a single customer comes to us and says, I want this feature, and we jump and build it. We don't do that. We actually wait for many customers to have the same application, and all of them ask for it, and do a pretty thorough study of, what is if we put this feature in a voice, for example, voice interaction versus text, or SMS versus web, how many people are going to want it? How many companies in our sector are going to want it? And we go out and sort of research. On our website, we have our own product, you know, uh, Botco.ai is our chatbot. And Botco.ai is always doing surveys and questions and trying to gather data from people who visit our website, that we drive there, to really gauge whether there's a need for this feature or not. So that's how we
Very
stay.
smart.
Yeah.
So you've touched on it a couple times, but my last question is the role that customer insights and engagement play in shaping your product roadmap. It sounds like you're very much aligned with your customers and keeping the pulse on their needs.
Yes, and we, sort of we look at what some of the leaders are doing, where the core technologies are going, what some of the research shows. We attend industry events and see what's driving them. Like, for example, we picked up a big need in city governments because there's a budget pressure, and they're trying to offload, the shorter people basically, everywhere, city, state, federal. And so we said, wow, this could be pretty interesting. What can we do here? And we've done a lot now in that area. And so and then of course, looking at our customers and what they're doing, talking to them, gathering insights on our own website through Botco.ai and through survey. We do a one big survey every year, and go to at least 1,000 or 3,000 companies, do pure research. For example, what is this? What is the how many people are using chatbots in marketing? What are the chatbots used for? Where do they see that going? And every year we've published a report that's been well covered in different publications. So we really believe that one of the big advantages of talking to your customers through chat is the insights that you gather, whether it's our customers gathering insights on their websites that leads them to, create new products or new services or engage with their customers better, or whether we're doing it with our customers for the same purpose is really important.
Thank you so much for sharing the insights that you have. And congratulations for the amazing successes that you've had over the years. And I hope that this is just the first of multiple conversations that we have here on Return on Insights with you, Anu. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule today. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.